If you don't feel today like you're in the best possible job or career journey for yourself, and you're trying to figure out how do I find what work I should be doing, what career path I should be on, I'm going to share with you a really powerful concept from this perennial bestseller, Good to Great by Jim Collins, that came out many years ago, but it's got a concept in here called the Hedgehog Concept that they use for helping businesses get really clear on the business they should be in. And I believe this is also a great tool to think about what career path should an individual be in? What job should you be doing? So if that's a question you have, then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you the three major components that then get you to a middle place of saying, that's the thing I should be doing. And to get into it, I just want to give full credit to Jim Collins and his great book, Good to Great. I believe that if you're someone that really wants to figure out how to be successful in your career, especially as an entrepreneur or business leader, that is a phenomenal book. But if you've never been introduced to the concept of the Hedgehog Concept, I'm going to introduce you to it now. And I also hopefully will remind you of it if you've been informed of it before. And we'll get into it. I'll share my thoughts and 2 cents and perspective so that you can ultimately, by the end of this video, have more clarity on not exactly what you should do, but the process you need to go through to figure out what you should do. I don't claim that this is a silver bullet, but this is certainly a strategy for figuring out the work you should be doing. I'm going to start up here and go this way. So the first thing you got to figure out is, what are you deeply passionate about? Now, the thing is, there's lots and lots of really successful entrepreneurs out there that will say, you don't need to follow your passion. That's not what this is saying. And my interpretation is, you've got to figure out what work lights you up. What do you enjoy? What gets you excited? Because you've got to have a certain level of energy that comes through you when you do that particular work that you do. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be passionate per se about the industry that you're in, but you've got to be passionate about the work you do. And not just passionate. In the book, they say deeply passionate, deeply passionate. There's got to be a serious energy that lights up in you, that ignites inside of your soul when you start doing the work that you do. If you don't feel that today, it's very likely that you, by happenstance, fell into the work that you do and you're not actually super passionate about it. Now, back to the concern that some really successful entrepreneurs have about don't follow your passions. I think what they really mean is they're not saying don't do work you're passionate about because even guys like Tom Bilyeu will say, don't follow your passions, just do work and you'll become passionate about it. But if you actually stop listening to what he said in that case, but look at what he did. He got into Quest Nutrition and started that business and went from 0 to $1 billion in 5 years and sold it for $1 billion because he was passionate about creating a healthy food. The Quest bar. He wanted to create a healthy food because his family was morbidly obese, everyone in his family, and he wanted to help them have a food they could eat that tasted good, but was actually not destroying their health and was actually, in fact, healthy for them. And so he was passionate about that thing. I think when big time successful entrepreneurs talk about don't follow your passion, what they're saying is don't just follow don't get excited by a thing and then think, well, I should do that, or I really like that thing, so I should go over there. Because if you start to follow your passion, you follow your feelings instead of following the thing you truly are deeply passionate about. And it takes work to figure out what you're deeply passionate about. It takes effort. It takes trial and tribulation. It takes failure. It takes trying something and figuring out that's not what I wanted to do, and falling down and figuring out then what do I actually feel super passionate about. So you've got to do the work. And some people say, well, how do I find what I'm passionate about? You got to try different things. Like, the best thing I can say is try as many things as possible. You got to make a hypothesis, just like a great entrepreneur makes a hypothesis about a business idea. You, as a leader, as an employee, as a team member, you got to make a hypothesis about what you believe you could be passionate about. First of all, just make a list. What are all the things I love to do? I love to do coding. I love to do public speaking. I love to be a leader. I love to develop people. I love to talk to people. It doesn't matter. Just make a huge list and then go item by item by item and start to ask yourself, what about this do I most enjoy? Could I see myself doing something like this full time? Because, by the way, you might say, I love public speaking, but it doesn't mean you should be a full-time public speaker. Maybe it just means you've got to find opportunities within a given role to be able to do public speaking, even if it's speaking in front of a small team or your whole company, even if it's only a few hundred people. I should say only a dozen people or a few hundred people or 5 people. Do you have opportunities to stand in front of people and use your voice and your communication skills to speak? It doesn't mean you got to do it every day, because in fact, One of the problems people have when they become an entrepreneur because they started a business because they're like, well, I'm a plumber and I love plumbing, so I should start a plumbing business, is very quickly as they start to grow, they get out of actually doing the thing. And so the point of all this is to say you don't have to do just the one thing that you think you love all day long in order to get the fulfillment from doing the thing. So if you love to talk to people about leadership, like I love teaching leadership and developing leaders, great. It doesn't mean that you have to go and be a leadership coach. Maybe it just means you need to be a manager who's developing the next level of leaders within an organization. So these are really important things to consider. I can't give you the answer for you right now of like, what are you passionate about? But I can give you the steps, and hopefully this gets you on the right path to know you've got to figure out not just what you're passionate about, but what you are deeply passionate about. And by the way, you might start doing something and realize not that fired up about it, or it's different than I expected. The thing is, you're not going to be able to figure out exactly what you're passionate about until you start doing it. That's why I say it's got to start with a hypothesis. You got to say, I believe that I could be passionate about these things. Here's a job or a role or an opportunity that I see in front of me or that I've been asked about that I could do some of these things. And so you've made that list, and the more of those things you can be doing consistently, the better. That will help you then look at opportunities to decide, will this opportunity align with the things I love doing, that I'm passionate about, that get me fired up and excited? Because the more fulfilled and excited and fired up you feel doing the work you do, we will then lead to the next thing, which is the question of what can you be the best in the world at? Now you might say, well, JJ, I don't really care about being the best in the world. That's not the idea. Like, I'm not saying you've got to figure out how to be the Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or whoever you might consider the best in the world in basketball or the Tom Brady of football. Like, I'm not saying you've got to be the best in the world, but I'm saying you've got to find something that you can work like you're trying to become the best in the world. You don't have to believe you can be the best in the world. You just have to believe that there's a path for you to become the best in the world if you do the work for long enough and make the intentional effort to do it. And why is this important? This matters because if you're a driven, ambitious, high achiever, you got to figure out how to be the best. Like, you've got to compete. And it's hard to see because in the NBA, it's like there's only a certain number of people that actually make it to the NBA. So there's only like a handful of people that we even talk about who is the best NBA player on the face of the planet. But how many entrepreneurs live today that are still entrepreneurs and still business leaders? That we ask the question, who's the best entrepreneur? Who are the best business leaders? There can be lots that are the best, or considered great, I should say. So the question is maybe better not what you can be the best in the world at, but what can you be great at? What can you be outstanding at? And this matters because the better you become at something, the more fulfilled you will feel doing the thing. And this plays out all the time. Like, that's back to the point of like really high level entrepreneurs often say, don't do something you're passionate about. Do something you can be great at and you'll become passionate about it, because the more you make the effort to progress in your skills and develop in the thing, the more you get excited, the more you're like, man, I'm actually good at this thing. And when we're good at something, when we're skilled at something, we want to do more of it. Like, an example I give you from my own personal life is I happened to stumble into doing some public speaking events, and I got really good feedback when I did it. People are like, wow, that's really good. You're inspiring, you're energized, you're a great speaker, you're motivational. I'm like, cool, that feedback kind of feels good. And so it drove me and it drives me and it gets me excited and fired up and passionate about using my voice. Now, am I a full-time public speaker? No. But I get to speak publicly by creating content, by speaking even in one-on-one conversations with coaching clients, by speaking and doing presentations that I do with small groups and video presentations. Like, I get to do some of that. So it doesn't mean I literally think I'm the best in the world at public speaking, but it means I get to work on a skill that I think I can become pretty dang outstanding at relative to other people that are doing the same thing. Because we work and live in a very competitive environment. Back to the NBA comment, there's only X number of people that play in the NBA. I don't know how many teams there are, maybe a couple dozen, few dozen. I don't pay attention to the NBA. There are a few dozen teams. There are how many people? 12 people that sit on the bench that are playing per team? I don't know the math on that. But that's a very small number compared to the total number of leaders and managers and people doing what you do, very likely depending on what you do, out in the world. So it's a very competitive world we live in, but because it's so diluted in the fact that there are so many professionals in professional business career work as opposed to just looking at a very small pool of NBA players, it's harder to realize there's really talented people out there. Like, you might be in a company where there's really talented people, like I am. I work in a company where there are really talented, high-performing people. So I get to see it, but not everyone lives and works in an organization or company or environment where the people you interact with are high performers. So you don't see it. You're like, man, I'm really good compared to these people. But if you got around other A players, it might feel different. And so that's why I believe you've got to find something you can be the best in the world at, or at least become great at, because that's what will set you apart and set you up to create great success in your career, which if you're watching this video, that's probably something you really care about anyways. I know I do. Third and final thing that creates your, what they call in the Good to Great book, the Hedgehog Concept, is what drives your economic engine. Now, let me tell you what's different. So in the book, they're asking about profit per X. For a business, like, is it profit per employee? Is it profit per piece of steel distributed? Is it profit per location? How are you measuring profitability? And that's what you'll focus on. Not that that's your only key performance indicator, otherwise your key KPI, but it is something to pay attention to, and it's a key thing to pay attention to within all of the metrics you pay attention to. But for you as an individual contributor, a team member, a leader, maybe even as an entrepreneur, what's your economic engine? Now, there's three that I believe we can pay attention to that are core as you're an employee or team member trying to figure out where to go, what to do. Do you care about getting the highest compensation possible, like cash comp in the year between your base and bonus? Do you care about, I don't care about that piece, but I really care about getting equity in whatever company I'm in, because I think that's going to grow over time, and I feel better about having equity in a company because I'm more tied to it, I'm more attached. So it's my economic driver. Is it comp, actual annual compensation, and benefits? So I guess maybe there's more than three, but three core ones, like compensation, equity, and then the third and final one, which I think is really important that needs considered by more people, is skill development. An economic driver for sure long-term is, do you have an opportunity to develop the skills to become the best in the world at the thing you want to do? So even if you go somewhere where your actual cash compensation is not as much as you'd like, maybe there's not even any equity comp, but you get the economic engine of skill development, that's huge. Especially if you're earlier in your career. If you're in your 20s and 30s, maybe even 40s, can you go somewhere where you can develop skills so that in your 50s and 60s, you'll be earning tremendously more than you ever could have imagined because you develop skills that actually make the big difference. The leverage for most people that are employees is skill. Most people stop developing skill when they get comfortable with their actual economic driver of compensation, like, oh, I'm making 100 or I'm making 150 or I'm making 250, and they settle. And they go on cruise control. But you can blow by these people if you choose to make one of your economic engines something you pay attention to that drives you skill development. Are you in a role in an organization that gives you a chance to develop really valuable skills like public speaking, communication, working with and winning with people, influence, persuasion, sales, marketing, whatever it is that you're trying to do? Can you get in a place where you get to really work on your skills that will help you become great at what you do? And I believe once you've assessed these things, you start to get closer to your hedgehog concept, maybe not in business, but certainly for your role in your career. So I hope you enjoy this. Please hit subscribe, come back for more videos. If you have questions about this or you have follow-up questions on how to tap into your greatest potential, personal growth, professional development, I really want to serve people that want to be great at what they do, that are ambitious and driven and want to be incredible employees and team members, quite frankly, and whatever it is that you do. So I want to help you tap into your greatest potential. If you want more of that, hit subscribe on this video, comment below, ask me your questions, let me know what you thought. If you hated it, let me know that too. But specifically, if you hated it, would you let me know why? I'd love your feedback. But either way, I hope this message served you. And whatever you're going after, friend, refuse to settle for anything less than your greatest potential and just keep freaking going. And if you want to direct message me, you can find me on Instagram, @JJPeller, or connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to meet you there. Friend, whatever you're going after, just keep freaking going. Great things are happening. See you next time.